to stay alive. Trying to find me shorty and make her mine. Now I'll find one in no time. With the help of my homies, I'm going out with my bros.
Hey there, my sisters fans. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, Bruh, Season 3, Episode 11, A Wall Between Us, and Season 3, Episode 12, Pound Cake. And now the synopsis for Episode 11, A Wall Between Us reads, John meets the real apartment trashing culprit. Bill confides in a friend about his affair. Pamela warns Regina about her living situation. And Dina's naughty proposition leads to trouble. The synopsis for episode 12 reads, Darla helps Tom and Greg out of a jam. Regina makes a deal with Bill regarding her mother. And Lydia refuses to leave the sandwich shop until she gets an apology from John and Alice. So before we get started, if you are new here or if you're returning here and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button. Then I ask that you hit the notification bell and select all so it will let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, that's the thumbs up button. Write a comment, join our conversation, and share because sharing is caring. So now we have episode 11, starting with John and Alice getting home after Lydia punched her out. And he's teasing his mom about getting beat up, by Lydia. And she's like, say that again, say that again. She threatening to knock him out if he don't stop teasing her about that. He was like, you need to rest. You need to go to the hospital. And he's like, I'm calling the cops and having them come. He's like, no, I told you I want no cops. She said, it's going to be a man. She said, oh, okay, give me some ice pack for that my jaw. Because he told her, she punched you in your jaw, you should have a concussion and stuff. Oh, he was just letting his mama have it. She did not like that at all. So they're going on and on. All of a sudden, they hear something in the bedroom. And he's like, that's her. It's Lydia. She's here. And they jump up. They're getting a little nervous and stuff. And she's like, go ahead. Take on, you little punk. She called her son a punk and stuff. And he's like, who in there? And nobody's saying nothing. And he's like, nah, you get it. And she said, why you getting behind me? He said, well, if it's Lydia, she already knocked you out. You said you ready for her now. You could go first. He's like moving out the way. So his mama's like, I got a shotgun. I got this. You better come out there. And who come out but the blinker? He blinking. Blink, 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 blink. Anyway, so he blinking and stuff. And she's like, oh, it's my man. He blinking and stuff. And come to find out, he blinking saying that he did that and that he put that biatch on the wall because John is a biatch and all this stuff. I'm like, he tore their house up. That don't make no sense that the blinker did it. So here Alice is about to go in the bedroom with the blinker. And he's like, yo, mama, what you doing going back there with that crazy dude? He said, now, when you thought it was Lydia, you was ready to kill her and do this and do that. She said, yeah, that's true. He said, but Lydia can't F like he can. I said, oh, my goodness. She went back there. He said, look, he apologized and he won't apologize to me. It was so ridiculous. He was like, oh, mama, you crazy. He was calling her all kind of names and everything, telling her she need help. She messing with some brother who looked like he came off the slow bus and all kind of stuff he was saying, And she was saying how the man took a vow of silence. That's why he don't talk. He like, this nigga don't speak. What's wrong with him? He took a vow of silence or something like that. Anyway, I was laughing at them. So John sits down on the couch and decides to call Bill. And that's when Bill confides in John and tell him that he just had sex with Claudia, this chick that was Tom's cleaning lady. He's like, what? What is wrong with you? And he was like, was she better than Pam? Regina? And he's like, no. He said, then why do it? I was like, well, he wouldn't have found out unless he did it. He wouldn't know if she was better than Regina or not. I'm just saying. I'm like, let's be real. But what was funny is when he called and they started speaking, he's like, what's that noise? He said, your mama got company? He said, yeah. She back there with this dude whose name is Blink. He just be blinking, blink, blink, blink. And he was trying to tell what happened with him that night, that he had a rough night and that his mama got beat up and all that stuff. But he didn't get a chance to tell that because that's when Bill told him that Claudia's husband was Jack McKenzie. And he was like, yo, oh my God. He's like, if he find out you dead and stuff, and for some reason Bill was getting upset with him, but he was being straight up, John was being straight up telling him what's going to happen. And Bill was like, no, no, whatever, whatever. And he got mad. He's like, dude, look, that's what it is. He's like, you know what? I'm hanging up on you. Bill got mad, wanted to hang up. Enjoy your mama in there effing that man and making all that noise. He was like, whatever, and you enjoy being dead. So he hung up on him and they got mad at each other. But it was just basically about him knowing that John was right what he was saying. So he effed up. He effed up real bad, and he's sure about it. So now we have Pamela and Regina sitting on the couch talking. And you know what? Pamela decides she all in Regina's business. I don't know why, but she needs to stop. But it's funny that this time she started agreeing with Bill. She said, I'm going to have to agree with Bill on this one. She's like, what are you talking about? She said, this apartment is small. It's kind of tight for 3 adults. And now your mama talking about wanting to bring her 3 or 4 dogs. She's like, come on now. And could y'all imagine your mother-in-law coming with all her dogs in your house? No. And Regina didn't say when we get married or if we get married, whatever, my mama gets to move in. And so Pamela's telling her, he could ask for an annulment. And, Regina's like, oh, he just going to have to get over it. He's going to have, I'm going to get up in their ass if he do this. And he better not. And he ruined my wedding. And he did this. And then Pamela said, oh, so it's all about Peter. Peter is the guy she was about to marry, that Regina was about to marry, and she was in love with him. But she allowed Bill to break up her wedding and go with Bill when he was begging her, and it made no sense to me whatsoever. Not to mention that she actually did have sex with Bill the night before her wedding. So I don't get it. That's on her. You know what I mean? It's on her. Anyhow, Regina's mama is in the bathroom taking these long showers in there, messing around. Regina's making excuses that they didn't have a nice bathroom growing up. So her mama's really enjoying the jets and running up their water bill, to be honest. And when Bill comes home, he wants to take a shower, and he's like, she's like, my mama's in there. So he's mad. He's upset. And then when Pam says she's going to leave, he's like, good. 1 down, 1 to go. And he was talking about her mama, to be honest. So Pam leaves, talking about she made a mistake and slipped and said something about, what do you mean you want to get away? You was in that strange park. She started saying stuff, and Regina's trying to get her to stop saying stuff, and she just was like, let me go, let me go. And so Bill is like, what's she talking about when she leaves? He said, oh, Pam, she just be talking crazy and stuff. But now I think he's realizing they was probably following him or tagging him or, whatever. So he was just done. He's done, and I don't blame him for being done. And she doesn't understand it. I don't get it. He said he don't want no sex that night, and she's like, what? You always want sex. He's like, well, I don't want it tonight. I'm good. She's like, who you was with? He's like, we couldn't have sex anyway. Your mama here. Your mama's here. Can't do no, you're hollering and screaming and whatever we do. And he's right, and I don't understand why she don't get it and think it's okay to have her mama there. He already got busted walking around naked. He tried to walk and go to the bathroom, and she was up. The mother turned on the light in the middle of the night and caught him naked. So it's like, that's not a good situation. That's a disaster waiting for your marriage to end, to be honest, if you ask me. Anywho, they got into a little spat. He said, look, you know what? You let me know when your mama get out the shower. And he went in the bedroom, closed the door. And then the episode ends with Dina. Dina and Tom, they come back to Tom's apartment, and Dina's a little drunk, and they had already decided they was going to see how the evening ends, making plans to have sex that night. And when they get into the apartment, she sees Greg sitting there. So all of a sudden, she's talking about, oh, she wants both of them. Let's have some fun. You did say you wanted to have fun. And then she said something to Greg that I couldn't hear what she said, but he was like, nah, you got the wrong one. And he went to the bedroom. Meanwhile, Tom is looking at him. She's like, did I say something wrong? I think I heard his feeling. He said, yeah, that wasn't cool. I would have been upset about that too. He's like, look, I'm calling you a ride share. She's like, what? No, we're going to have this. No, he said, no. He said, I'm calling you ride share. And he said, your car is coming soon. She's like, you putting me out? He's like, yes, I'm putting you out. So you don't want all of this? He looked her up and down and said, not like this, I don't. And she's like, but what? And he was like, no. He said, I don't want no sloppy drunk sex. And then she said, I know what it is. Y'all effing each other. Y'all was having sleeping together. And he's like, what? That's right, because he likes trans women. He was like, Greg heard that in the back and came up to her and said, what did you say? She said, you like trans women. And and he's like, no, it's not like that. And Tom is like, look, you got to go. You got to stop this. You got to go. And all of a sudden, she's like, F you to Greg and F you to Tom. She's like, F the. And Greg said, that's what you're not going to get tonight. That's what you wanted. Unfortunately, nobody wants you tonight, so you could go. And she turned around, got mad, and started hitting him. But I was saying, Greg, shut up. Just let her go, because she was going to go. And then she turned around and hit him 2 different times. The last time she was just hitting him, slap, 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 slap. And he back smacked her. And she fell onto the couch and was holding her face. And Tom was like, yo, man, what the F? And he said, it was an accident. And it went off just like that. Now it's like, oh boy, here we go. So now we have episode 12. And here's drunk Dina getting up off the couch talking about, you hit me. And I'm going to have you arrested. I'm calling the cops and all that stuff. He said, you hit me first. Oh, you want to justify that? I was like, girlfriend, you was just like beating on him. Beat, 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 beat. And then you hear a knock at the door. And who is it but Darla? And Darla comes over and she's like, I heard all this noise. Is everything okay? And then she's like, oh, I'm calling the police that he hit me. And she's like, is that true? And Greg said, yeah. And she's like, oh. He said, but she hit me first. And she's like, oh, did you? She said, all you need to know is that he hit me. And she's like, but if you hit him first, she said, what does that mean? And then she starts with F you to Darla too, F you to Tom, and get her stuff. She's like, miss, do you know I can have you arrested for a public intoxication? She said, I'm in his house. She said, look like you leaving. She was like, oh, please. So she told Tom, make sure she gets downstairs into her ride share, whatever, safely. But Tom was still there when the girl Dina left. So I don't know. And then Darla gonna get mad at Greg and say something to him and try to hit him and stuff and called him a name. I said, girl, if you're gonna be the police, be the police. You can't be the police and the friend at the same time. So if you policing, take your policing behind there and be respectable. You can't be hitting people, because then he could have you arrested for assault, if you ask me. But anyway, so when Darla leaves, Tom lays into Greg. He is pissed. He's like, what the F, man? What are you doing? What are you thinking? He's like, it was an accident. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like, what am I supposed to do? He said, walk away. Walk away. Why? Because she a woman? Yes, because she's a woman. You don't hit her. And he's like, they want to be treated equal. So I did. He said, dude, do you hear the stupid that's coming out of your mouth? He was like, are you crazy? And he just laid into him and told him, dude, you lucky she don't have you arrested. You better hope tomorrow, that she is forgiven and realize her part that she played, because she was drunk too. And he was like, oh man. He's like, you're a doctor. You have a lot to lose. What is wrong with you? And so he's like, okay. He kept saying he's sorry. He said, say that sorry for Dina tomorrow, basically. And he's like, okay, my bad. Tomorrow I'll go into the hospital and I'll tell her he's sorry. He's like, fine, I'm going to bed. And he left. He was so pissed at him. How you going to hit this woman? All Greg had to do was walk away instead of being a little instigating and trying to get under her skin and saying all these little things. When people say things to get under your skin and they want to get a rise out of you. And that's what he kept doing. And that's what happened. Anyway, so now we have Bill and Regina. He's leaving to go to work. And she's like, I need to talk to you for a moment. He's like, I really have a deadline. I don't have time. And she, of course, she's questioning where you going and stuff. He said, I can't work here. I'm going to Tom's because your mama's here all over everything. Does my mama really get on your nerve like that? Yes. Do you really want my mama to leave? Yes. And I was laughing because she's like, oh, you just kidding around. You playing. He looking at her like, are you for real? Do you really think I'm kidding? And when he said that last part and said, I don't want no dogs up in here. And she was like, oh, you serious? He's like, yes. She said, oh, okay then. He said, so when's she leaving? She said, as soon as you tell her. He said, but that's your mama. She said, that's your mama-in-law. He said, but you invited her. I didn't invite her. She said, Bill, if you want her to go, you going to have to tell her. And he was like, he thought about it and said, you know what? Okay, fine. And then all of a sudden the mother comes out the room. She said, There she go. Go ahead and tell her. Now, didn't he say he got to rush and get his some work done? But she got all this time to mess with him. And I still don't know what Regina does. Does anybody know what Regina does? Does she even work? She be changing her clothes every day, so she must do something. I don't know. But anyway, anyway, her mama come out there. Hey, Bill, how you doing? You look exceptionally wonderful today, and blah blah blah. And he should know already. Remember that she can hear everything that's going on in that room. And she's buttering him up and saying how lucky her daughter is to have a man like him, a husband like him. And she made this pound cake for him to take to work. And you see, I got an extra piece of pound cake. And he was like, I need to talk to you. He kept trying, and she kept interrupting him with stuff and saying how handsome he is. And then she said, okay, what did you want to say? And now he's sitting there going, oh boy, because he said, you know what? I just want to say thank you. Because she done trying to butter him up, and he didn't want to break her down, break her heart. And she's like, thank you for taking in an old woman like me. And then he was like he couldn't say nothing then. And Regina's sitting there laughing. So he leaves, goes out the door, and she's like, Mama, she said, you really made that cake for me? She said, no, girl, that was store-bought. She did a store-bought cake. She already knew this was coming, so she was aware. And she said, no, I ain't going nowhere. That nigga ain't putting me out. And she said, that's right, because you my mama, you ain't going nowhere. And all this stuff. I was like, ain't this nothing? Then the girl said, oh, Mama, can I have a piece of pound cake? She said, girl, I ain't got enough for you. You ain't putting me out. And she walked away. I said, oh, snap. So now we have Lydia showing up to the sandwich shop, and she telling John, I did not break into your house. I'm telling. He's like, okay. And she just keep on. Why you keep saying okay? He said, okay. And then he said, because I know who did it. It was one of my mom's friends. Oh, so you owe me an apology. He's like, I ain't apologizing to you. She said, yes, you owe me an apology. He said, you slapped my mama. She hit me first, and then he's like, okay, fine, Lydia, I'm sorry. Now you could go. You would go, no, I'm not leaving, because she wanted to stay and wait to apologize to his mama. But now she's sitting there going, now your mama owes me an apology. And so she refuses to leave the sandwich shop. And she's like, well, you don't have no sandwiches here I can eat while I wait. And he was like, you got money? And she was like, please, you could just give me a sandwich or something like that. And she's telling him what kind of sandwich with pickles on it. He's like, here. He gave her a pre-made one and said, I ain't got no pickles. And she's like, Dad, she's like, make it with love. When she was asking him to make it, he was like, nah. And he got mad and slammed the register. She said, don't be slamming the cash register like you got an attitude, like she worked there or something, like she the owner. He was like, girl, bye with that. And she went and sat down. Then it switched over to Tom's apartment where Bill is showing up to work. And Tom is like, I didn't know you was going to work here again. And he said, what, you happen to know my cleaning lady's coming again? He said, oh, she is? So I think Bill kind of knew she was coming and acting like he didn't know. Then he finally admitted to Tom that he slept with Claudia. And he's like, what? And he was like, yeah, but no, I'm not going to do it no more, I promise. He's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Tom started giving him the speech. And then he said, what's going to make you not do it? Y'all going to be here alone. And he said, well, her husband is Jack McKenzie. He's like, yo, he's like mobbed up, like deep mob ties, like, yo, he's like, I know. He said, you a dead man and all that stuff. So he's like, stay away from the windows. Don't do this. And he said, and if something happens, he said, I got a gun in a sock drawer. He was like saying all this stuff. He said, you got me paranoid. But I was like, dude, you stupid. You went over there knowing that this girl is going to be there. I think he knew. The way he was acting, it seems like he knows. Then it switches over to the hospital. And Greg runs into Dina and he apologizes, and she's like, I should kick your ass and all of this stuff. And my face is bruised, and thank God I know how to use makeup. And she's doing all of this. And then she admits, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have hit you and this, that, and the other. I'm a sloppy drunk. I'm messy. And he said, no, I should have never put my hand on you. And she's like, you're right. But she was like, I shouldn't have even done this and done that. So they squashed it. She felt bad. She said she's embarrassed. She wants to really put this all behind her and take back what she said about him, about Tom, and she said about your girl. He said, don't worry about it. And so she did all the apologies. He apologized. She said, now I think I'm going to go join a support group. He said, I think that'd be a good idea. She's like, I'm kidding, dude. I'm just going to stop drinking. I was like, he was dead serious. Then he wanted to know why she drinks and stuff. And she wasn't trying to talk to him about that, because then Tom showed up and she apologized to him. She told him she was so embarrassed. She ruined a good night for everybody, yada, yada, yada. So Greg takes this opportunity to walk away, say he got work to do, and allows Tom and Dina to talk. And she's like, "You got to allow me to make this up to you." She really felt bad. She apologizes all over again. And then she said, "Do I get a second chance?" And he said he would give her a second chance. And she was like, "Okay, great." So that was that. And then the episode ended on a crazy note with John still trying to get Lydia out of the sandwich shop. And she refuses to leave. And he's like, "My mama is not coming back no time soon." He said, "I'm telling you." He's telling her, you don't want to be there when my mama come. You don't want to be there. She's like, "No, I want to be there because she going to apologize to me." And da 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 da. She just kept on. Because, like I said, at first she was saying she shouldn't have hit her because she an old woman. And John was like, "You right." But now, here comes Miss Alice. She come up into the shop yelling at the customers, talking about, "Which one of you MFers is parked in my parking spot?" I said, "Oh my Lord." He's like, "Ma, you go chase away our business. What are you doing?" She in a mood and stuff. "We only got one damn spot, and one of these MFers is in my parking spot, and I ain't gonna be quiet till the tow truck come and tow them away." He was like, "Ma, please." I was like, poor Miss Alice do not know how to act. So now John is trying to get her to look to see Lydia sitting there. And she wasn't paying him no attention. He's like, "Ma, listen to me." She said, "Do I ever listen to you? I don't listen to you." So I'm laughing. And then Lydia finally stands up and she turns around and said, "Oh, you." That's what Miss Alice says. And she said, "What you doing here?" She said, "Well, John told me that you found out who did it. So I'm waiting for you to apologize." She said, "Oh, okay." She said, "I apologize." John's like, "You do?" She said, "Shut up, nigga." It's like, "Yes, I apologize. Do you forgive me?" She said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, Miss Alice." She said, "Now you have something you want to say to me?" And she said, "Yes, I apologize for knocking you the hell out." She said, "Oh, no, you didn't. You sucker punched me, nigga." She was like, "No, I didn't. I hit you." She said, "You gonna keep fighting with me about this?" She said, "Miss Alice, I'm sorry for hitting you." She said, "Am I forgiven?" She said, "Yes, thank you." She said, "You want something to eat now?" And she was like, "Oh, John just made me a sandwich." She said, "No, sit down, enjoy." And she said, "Oh, Miss Alice, you're so cool. See, John, your mom's so cool." She said, "Yes, I am." So John is like, "Wait a minute, what's going on here with my mama?" He was like, because he know her mother don't act like that. He said, "Go in." She said, "Sit down, I'm going in the back." And he said, "Mama, what you going in the back?" "Oh, to put down my pocketbook." She went to the back. John told her, "You better get up and go, Lydia. Go." She's like, "Why? Why?" He said, "You better run. Run, Lydia." Miss Alice came out with a shotgun. About to shoot her. And boy, Liddy was out that door running. I was cracking up. I thought it was hilarious. And John, so silly, he gonna run out the door with her. He running too. I said, "Boy, you better get out the way. You know your mother shoot that shotgun, and if she hit you by accident, she won't even care. She won't even care. She be there, 'Oh, well, you shouldn't have been in the way." But anyway, that's the way that episode ended. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about that episode. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.